Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. It is now official. The WARCRAFT movie adaptation has become the biggest video game movie ever, and it currently stands at a worldwide taking of approximately $380 million. However, that being the good news, it's not all plain sailing from here on in, and whether or not this franchise gets any sequels is complete and utterly in the balance. Although it's taken $380 million so far, the film had a budget of $160 million. On top of that, tens of millions more needed to be added to that because of the marketing which needs to be done in all the various territories. So profitability, not that big at the moment. To compound that, it's been a domestic failure, and that's unfortunate. Although it's done well internationally, domestically in the US, it is absolutely tanked. And of that 380 odd million takings, only 10% has come from America itself. And to make matters even worse, on the second week of release in the US, it's actually dropped off by 73%, the third biggest drop-off in cinema history, which means, of course, it's not going to be able to hold on to the screens. They're going to go to other films, and of course that means, of course, that the box office takings to the US aren't going to rally. They're not going to pick up. It's just going to get worse. So where has all the money for this film come from? Well, it's done well internationally. Countries like Germany, Russia have been praised for how well it's done there. But of course, the biggest one is China, which is rapidly becoming the number one. I think it's currently at number 2, but it's rapidly becoming the number one, or will certainly be the number one audience for cinematic releases before too long. And it's done approximately 200 to 205 million in that territory, which is absolutely incredible. That's around about 65 odd % of the whole of the movie's takings. Now, it has slowed down in China as well. It is beginning to drop off there. However, it's still performing better than all movies. So it does look like the WARCRAFT movie is going to push past the 400 million mark. That will be the first time ever a video movie game franchise has done so. And with it still to release in certain other territories as well, there is a hope that it might actually reach the 500 million mark as well. And considering how critically panned this film was before release, if it gets to the $500 million mark, I think Universal will be very happy. But very happy doesn't translate into we're going to give you some sequels. Now, if they do go ahead and push with a sequel, then, well, we'll probably be looking at a slash budget, which of course won't turn people on to go see it, and it might be an almighty failure. But one of the reasons why films like Resident Evil have had so many sequels is not because of their domestic or international or cinematic takings. It has everything to do with DVD and Blu-ray sales. I can see WARCRAFT doing very, very well indeed as a DVD Blu-ray movie. I can see it being something that somebody would go to the shops, buy it, sit at home, stick it on the TV with some popcorn and some soda and have a gay old time. They just didn't do that when it came to the cinema. So with that still to come, the takings for this film could actually skyrocket to the point where Universal decide to go ahead and say, well, if it doesn't perform great in the cinema, it looks like we'll still have a good DVD and Blu-ray support for the franchise, which will still make us some profit. So there is some hope for a sequel, but at the moment, it's complete and utterly in a balance. And that's a shame, because I personally thought the film was great. I got so much from it, and with Duncan Jones at the helm, you can't go too wrong with that. He's a fantastic director, and it was in really good hands. Now, another thing which I'm going to quickly go into was the release date. With it coming out in America a good couple of weeks after the international launch of the film, was there the possibility that it was heavily pirated over in the US before coming to them, and therefore that stopped people going to the cinemas. I'm definitely not crediting piracy by any stretch of the imagination for the reason why it flopped, but I'm just wondering, with such a large gap, the temptation is there, especially with a community rabid to see this movie, or was it just not something that the US audience took to, and therefore that's why it's performed so badly? So if they were to go ahead with a sequel, then they've definitely got to look at closing the gap between the domestic and the international releases of a film. To be perfectly honest with you, they should have them at the same time, considering this is the exact audience that you're trying to promote your film to. Having a 2-week gap, especially in the age of the internet, is just too much temptation, I think, for an audience that is absolutely keen and eager to see something, to go source that media elsewhere, as opposed to sitting there bumhole in a seat in a theatre and watching it on the big screen. But with that said, got to take heart in the fact that it looks like it's certainly going to go over 400 million and can push towards 500 million. Biggest video game movie ever. Until another movie adaptation comes along, they can't take that away from it. And there is still the potential of sequels. That is definitely not off the table. And of course, if it's supported well by Blu-ray and DVD sales, we might get this universe expanding. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.